2 of the Legend of Castlevania. So the year was 1094, and in Lament of Innocence, we learned of the origin of the Belmont clan and of Dracula. Matthias had tricked Leon and a vampire named Walter Bernhardt to complete the Crimson Stone and the Ebony Stone, making him the most powerful vampire ever. However, during Leon's quest to save Sarah...
Hold on! I'm coming!
No! No! Give me that! There will be no music this time. Once was enough.
My revenge! This one's gonna hurt. I got a better plan!
Okay, back to the story.
Zelda! Stay with me!
There will be no stabbing.
This thing isn't even sharp.
He did. The Belmonts didn't really use a sword much. They used a whip called the Vampire Killer.
Oh! I got you! I got you! We picked this up today from a stock show. Ow! That was a fail. Anyways, in the background when he was talking, I was practicing my whipping, and I got 2 perfect cracks. There's another one.
Can I continue?
No, you may not.
Too bad. Never.
That's what I say.
Ever mess with the Nintendo games. PlayStation's a different.
Now back to the song.
No. There will be no Starship songs.
Sarah! Sarah! I've had a feeling that's hard to remember the lyrics. Sarah!
We must continue.
So I'm just gonna say Sarah over and over and over again. Oh, hey, Marina.
So here we go.
Callie fell over. Sarah!
Back to my story. There's a lot we have to cover that happened between Lament of Innocence and Dracula's Curse.
Oh, by the way, didn't that vampire say like he seemed to have like a terrible cough? So I think we have the perfect thing for that. Let me go find the cough medicine.
You mean a coffin?
But that's a pun.
Okay. So he created the most powerful whip ever, the Vampire Killer. The whip capable of striking down vampires and those they serve. So after defeating death, Leon Belmont lived out the rest of his life training his children.
Sarah! I found the cough medicine.
You made Lament of Innocence fall.
Yes! Now time for a song.
No. We must get on with the story.
Sarah! Okay, I'll go get
Do you want to be sued?
No.
Okay.
I'll go get something to count.
Where was I? Leon Belmont lived out the rest of his life training his children to hunt vampires and passing down the vampire killer, knowing that Matthias one day would reappear. So, all of this is going to happen between Lament of Innocence and Dracula's Curse. There's actually a lot that Konami released through manga, through interviews, so they haven't truly come out with this, but a bunch of the game historians believe this is really basically what happened between the 2 games. So, Matthias went into hiding and eventually created a castle capable of changing its forms. And basically had a life of its own, creating a link between it and Matthias. He did not have the Master Sword.
I'm the Grim!
You mean from Harry Potter?
No. That's a Dementor!
No, the Grim was a symbol that they saw in his cup of tea.
No, I'm not a dog.
Well, what is the Grim then?
Grim Reaper!
Well, that's the Grim Reaper, not the Grim.
People call him the Grim.
I've never heard that before.
I've heard it.
No, I haven't.
I think I cracked the sheath.
Okay, so.
I fell on the way here.
Okay, where was I? He created a link between it and Matthias, the castle. To
You
further
mean like Celestia and raising the sun?
No.
But she's a unicorn.
To further distance himself, he changed his
alpha.
name to Vlad Tepes and named himself Lord of the Night.
No. He's a Spanish person now?
Vlad Tepes is not a Spanish word,
What is it then?
a Transylvanian word.
Welcome to Hotel California!
Romanian, actually, is what it is.
Oh, so he's like Majora.
Major is not from Romania.
He is now!
You're making
True.
me lose my place.
Okay, good. Oh, it's even that. Hold on, let me see that.
No.
That's the Book of Dracula! I see some blood on that!
Well, yeah, that's where this story is. Back to it. He welcomed anyone who turned their back on God and would allow them to practice their dark
Go
arts
into Skyward Sword.
in his castle. So in the 1450s, a boy named Hector was born. So the
I'm gonna go get someone who would love to be in the video.
anyone that has seen the Netflix Castlevania series, which is really good series, I hope they continue it. You notice a boy named Hector, and you also notice a boy named Isaac. This is where they come into play. That series was actually Castlevania 3, which is this one. So a lot of this stuff happened in between. Okay, so due to his silver hair, this is Hector's silver hair, and his love of animals, the town shunned him, and even blaming him for tragic events such as the town church burning down. Hector eventually fled the town, and an unnatural voice guided him to Dracula's castle. Hector eventually became a devil forge master, who is able to summon and control devils. Together with another forge master named Isaac, they became powerful in the dark arts. During this time, Dracula met a kind woman named Lisa, who reminded him of Elizabetha. And actually, at this time, I don't know why I called him Dracula. It's actually Vlad Tepes. They eventually fell in love and had a child who was half human, half vampire, named Adrian Fahrenheit Tepes. Adrian later would play a critical role in the protection of the human race.
I got a special guest. A bearded dragon. Gift that was given to us from God.
Sometime in the 1470s, false rumors began spreading that Lisa was practicing witchcraft. Hello, Hermione. She was arrested and sentenced to death during the day, which the reason why it was during the day will come clear.
Hermione.
Adrian tried to save her, but his mother stopped him and told him not to hate the humans for this act and to tell his father, Vlad, that she will always love him. Adrian had to watch his mother as she was burned at the stake for being a witch. These are the events that led to Dracula's
I'll go find
down.
a match to reanimate the flames.
No burning at the stake here. So these are the events that led Dracula down a path of destruction that he would
Found
never
flames.
return from.
It's hot. It's Italy and glass, though.
You must enjoy this Legend of Castlevania.
You mean Legend of Dark Soul.
Shadow Link.
This isn't even sharp.
No. I didn't sharpen it.
Look at the other one.
So, instead of now only waging war against God, he now decided that all humanity
Yeah, there's
must
this
suffer and die. He renamed himself Dracula, meaning son of the dragon, and built an army of followers.
I killed a velociraptor.
He named Hector and Isaac the generals of his legions and sent them against the people of Europe.
I found a button. You want to see what it does?
He's not in the shot. We're not doing the Legend of Zelda. We're doing the Legend of Castlevania. Here. Stop! I told you not to do that. You cannot treat games badly.
Unless you copyright, then you can.
We are trying to get on with the Legend of Castlevania.
And we are trying to kill games in the process.
Yes. Do not kill games. Okay, so.
It's true! I did!
Unable to agree with his father, Adrian renamed...
He's dying in vain.
Well, he's not even in the shot. He's upside down. Raptors are not in the Legend of Castlevania.
Now they are!
Okay. So.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear what you were saying. I was busy listening to a raptor.
So, unable to agree with his father, Adrian renamed himself Alucard, which is Dracula spelled backwards, to oppose his father.
Sweet home Alabama!
They weren't in Alabama, they were in Romania.
I don't care!
Refusing to fight for him, this created a rift between father and son.
A ball! Another ball! It's a disco party now.
Okay, we must get through this. We will get through this.
Cue the tumbleweed.
You threw Bulbasaur. You made the game fall. Punishment. Punishment for the game killer.
I don't think I could do that again if I tried.
Put game back. Now. No! Game killer! We must finish this. The Legend of Castlevania. Here. Okay. I completely lost my place. Okay, during these dark times, Dracula's forces burned entire towns.
Whatever this fruit is today will keep the vampires and him away.
It's an orange.
Oh, I thought it was a tambourine.
A tambourine is an instrument.
I give up!
A tangerine is a fruit. Have an orange. Anyway.
You mean a tambourine?
Not on the Nintendo.
It tampers with the Marines.
The church sent their own armies.
By the way, I'm not done with the tumbleweed.
Don't throw him though, remember?
Oh yeah.
Yoshi is protected.
Back up. Oh, by the way, if you want me and some of my friends and Pixelwolf to do a hide and seek video in the daytime at Robot Park, leave a like down below and comment.
Are you saying
Hide and
Pixelwolf's
seek.
not your friend?
Pixelwolf is my friend.
You said if you and your friends and Pixelwolf.
I need to let them know that Pixelwolf's in the video though.
But you said your friends and Pixelwolf. That's saying Pixelwolf is not your friend.
We all gave ourselves some nicknames. Pixelwolf didn't, I didn't. But, we have Amber, Luna, and Yang Yang.
I will continue.
And I'll throw a soccer ball at you.
I must continue this. The Legend of Castlevania. Okay.
I still didn't hear it. Legend of Castlevania.
Here.
Oh.
So, the church sent their own armies.
Seems like it's working.
Stop simulating lightning.
But it was a light switch.
Church sent their own armies against Dracula,
crazy.
but none of them ever returned. There was hope as a man named Trevor Belmont appeared, who started fighting back against Dracula's army.
Did you say Sarah? Sarah!
I said Trevor.
Cough medicine.
Okay, stories.
Medicine.
Thank you.
Oh.
Stories began spreading about a man with a powerful whip. Don't hit my knee. Which monsters feared. The Belmont clan was known by the church for their powerful abilities, but they feared them and exiled them from society long ago. The stories of Trevor and the vampire killer reached Dracula, who realized that he was descended from Leon and remembered the promise Leon made him 400 years ago. To track him down and destroy him and all of his kind, he knew that Trevor and the Whip was a serious threat to his rule.
It seems you summoned a monster. I'll keep you away.
So,
The tambourine.
and therefore sent Hector and a group of monsters to find him and kill the Belmont. You're choking on an orange. Oh no, I must save you. Hector
As you can
left.
see, the dinosaur is immediately in vain.
Hector left
As
on
I
his
am now
mission.
covering its eyes.
As I was saying, Hector left on his mission, but at some point was
I need to go
racked
get
with
some
guilt
meds for a second.
for the devastation that Dracula was causing, and the part he had played in it, betraying his master.
Ah! It didn't work as I planned.
We must finish The Legend of Castlevania.
Oh, did you see that? It bounced down and went back up like this.
Okay, stop. Okay, betraying his master, he decided to let Trevor live, hoping that he would end Dracula's plans.
Dracula's cough medicine. Not sponsored by Walmart. Actually, I don't know where that came from.
After turning on the monsters that traveled with him, he destroyed them all, but was seriously wounded in the fight. He was found by a woman named Rosalie, who took him into her home and nursed him back to health.
Bulbasaur!
I am almost done. I'm on the
Texas
last
Bear!
page. Christmas is over.
Jigglypuff! we can reanimate that if we tried! Pikachu! It's a flying saucer!
Okay, let us finish.
Meow!
Let us finish The Legend of Castlevania.
Oh, that was a fail. Oh wait, I forgot to do the light flicker for the lightning.
You're a little late. Okay. Hearing more and more stories of Trevor's victories.
Charmander!
Here's where it starts to set up everything.
Charmander! Legend of
Hearing
Castlevania!
more,
Was that like then?
hearing more and more stories of Trevor's victories,
Legend of Thunder.
Dracula knew that
Legend of Zelda!
Hector had betrayed him and sent Isaac out.
Castlevania.
What about Castlevania?
Legend of Castlevania.
Sent Isaac out to bring Hector back to the castle to face his punishment.
Oh, I'm actually not doing this one. Definitely not.
I can see you.
Oh.
With Hector and Isaac
Stuck!
out, this left the castle unprotected.
Got it.
This leads us to the year of 1746.
Legend of Castlevania.
What? That is weird.
What?
This leads us to the year 1746
What do you mean it's weird?
and the events
That
of
Legend of Castlevania's here?
Hey, leave the lights on.
Fine.
I'm actually at the last sentence. This leads us to the
Legend
year
of Castlevania.
This leads us to the year
Legend of
1746
Castlevania.
and the events of Castlevania 3, Dracula's Curse.
Moments of Innocence, Castlevania. Legend of Castlevania, in other words.
Lament of Innocence.
Lament of Innocence, Legend of Castlevania.
So,
But still, anyone, if you want to see that hide and seek video, comment down hide and seek robot park or just hide and seek.
okay, so
I did my nails.
Texas Cat, I need you here.
No, you don't. You need me over by the light switch
No,
for the
I need you here.
Legend of Castlevania.
Okay, I need you here.
Now I can come over. I want to get my grapefruit. I want to get my tangerine.
So,
Tamarine.
we are now here,
And I now have a tambourine.
which moves us to the NES.
I need my other secret weapon that you tipped over.
So, as you can see,
My secret weapon.
a lot of things happen between.
As you can all see, I made a big mess.
A lot of things happen between Lament of Innocence and Dracula's Curse. So, what are you expecting to see in Dracula's Curse?
A lot
You've
of
got
death.
Well, you got Trevor Belmont, and you have Alucard, Dracula's son, very, very unhappy with what his father's doing. So,
I think there's gonna be a girl vampire next called Missy, and then she defeats Dracula. I saw it online.
well, I hate to tell you this, that's not what happens.
You already know.
Well, yeah, I've played this before. I've beaten this one. I'm going to just beat it again as I film it.
We'll see in 1,000 years when he's done.
It took me only 2 months to beat Lament of Innocence, and then I went back and beat it using the secret character, Yahim
Yahim Bamoto.
Armstair.
Galita from
Which is really neat because
Ohio.
you're surrounded by swords, and you use that instead of a whip.
And if any of you down in the comments below suggest any other places for hide and seek or any challenges like Last to Leave, except we're not doing a cold pool challenge, like Last to Leave hot tub, that would be a good one.
Well, remember,
Well, comment down
we're also going to start movie reviews.
Oh yeah.
But anyway,
But yet we don't have any prizes. Mainly, we're just gonna give away something to the winner.
so are you
Not
ready?
a phone, no.
Are you ready for Castlevania 3, which is actually the second game in the timeline?
Legend of Castlevania.
So here's
Legend of Castlevania.
here's
We
Castlevania
lost
3,
power.
Dracula's Curse on the NES.
Legend of Zelda 2.
Trevor made his way through the villages which Dracula's forces had destroyed, and eventually made it to the outskirts of Castlevania. Trevor had to travel through caverns and flooded areas during his quest, but eventually ran into a monster which vaguely looked human. Once defeated, Trevor unknowingly lifted the curse which Dracula had put on the man. Trevor learned that his name was Grant Damnesty, who was a pirate whose crew had sworn to destroy Dracula. During the battle, Dracula's forces had slaughtered his crew and put a curse on Grant, transforming him into a monster. Grant decided to join forces with Trevor and gain revenge for his crew. Trevor also ran into Alucard, the son of Dracula and Lisa, who had decided to fight for humanity. Once he had tested Trevor's strength, he decided to join him on his quest to save humanity from his father. Trevor also freed a sorceress named Sypha Donadis, who was part of the church's hunting party formed to stop Dracula and his forces. Working together, the four made their way to Dracula's castle, battling through Dracula's minions. Eventually, they came face to face with Death, who had been resurrected as he had told Leon several years earlier. Trevor made it to Dracula's throne room, and finally Dracula would see the power of the vampire killer, who he himself helped make. Eventually, thanks to the power of the vampire killer, Dracula's human form was destroyed. Dracula tried to maintain control, turning himself into a mindless creature. As Trevor continued to strike Dracula, he was forced to use the last of his powers and transformed himself into a powerful demon, determined to bring an end to the Belmont name. Trevor at last had fulfilled the destiny of the Belmont clan and defeated Dracula. With Dracula defeated, his armies vanished, and the castle crumbled to nothingness.
Legend of Castlevania.
Weird. Okay, so that was
I'm still
Castlevania.
trying to find the so-called magical script that we have.
So that was Castlevania 3, Dracula's Curse.
Castle 3!
Castlevania 3, Dracula's Curse. No! I caught it. That was your whip. Don't ever treat a video game badly. There's a reason why we have some of the ones from my childhood. Whip. Okay. Anyway. So, a few things within the storyline that did take place during this game. Okay? That we need to kind of talk about. Stop.
Legend of Castlevania!
Okay, stop.
Legend
We
of
gotta go through this. Okay,
Legend of Castlevania.
at some point during Trevor's quest, Isaac had caught up with Hector. And Hector decided to disobey. Isaac decided to disobey and kill Hector instead of bringing him back to the castle. So once Dracula was defeated, both Isaac and Hector could feel that something had happened to Dracula because his power was gone. They knew that this meant that Trevor had defeated Dracula and had succeeded in defeating the castle too, because the castle and Dracula are linked. So Isaac became enraged and attacked.
Wow, there's a raptor here.
And attacked Hector, blaming Hector for Dracula's death. So while trying to defeat Hector, Isaac ended up becoming wounded. Hector ended up slashing him in the face, and Isaac staggered in pain and ended up falling off of a cliff.
Cool!
No, ow.
Bruh.
If only he had a llama.
Llama! Llama.
So, with Dracula and Isaac gone, Hector returned to his village and to Rosalie.
Llama. Fortnite! I'm tired. Fortnite Llama that haven't named yet.
Hector and Rosalie lived in peace and put their past behind them.
So what happened to Trevor, Grant, and Safi Kakalakad?
Okay, I believe you were asking what happened to Trevor, Grant, Sypha, and Alucard.
Oh yeah, maybe I just got that from the magical script.
So,
Bleep.
Grant ended up helping the villages rebuild.
From raptors?
No. So Alucard was still battling with guilt for defeating defeating his father.
This is a loot llama. You're supposed to kill it, I think.
So even though Dracula had brought a lot of pain to the villages and to humanity, Alucard was still just extremely sad that he returned to his tomb and disappeared from humanity for a while. Sypha and Trevor ended up eventually marrying. And,
oh, that was loud in my ear.
Enough.
Hold on, put your ear up to that side.
No. And so the bloodline of the Belmonts now ended up becoming extremely powerful Because with Sypha's magical abilities and the vampire whip and the training that Trevor had, those two powers got mixed, and so now all of the Belmonts ended up having those powers. So finally, after several years, the Belmont clan got their honor restored to them. And although Dracula was dead, peace did not return. But we'll talk about that later. So now...
Legend of Castlevania.
So now it's time for retro reviews. Okay, so this is where we talk about the game through the eyes of a retro gamer and then a newer gamer, although you've been playing games for several years.
Actually, I think I'm a noob.
You're a noob?
Yeah.
You're a noob?
A noob is someone who's not that smart in games. Like when... Oh, yeah, that's exactly me. Like whenever I fell off that cliff.
You fell off a cliff?
Nothing in Breath of the Wild. Nothing.
Okay, so Castlevania 3...
Cliff.
Castlevania 3 was released in December of 1989 in Japan. Came to North America in the beginning of 1990. It's notorious for being one of the most difficult games in the NES library. And unlike its predecessors, it's also noted for its soundtrack. It's got more of a soundtrack than Castlevania 2 and Castlevania. And it's still considered one of the greatest NES games ever made. Matter of fact, IGN placed it at number 5 of their top 100 NES games, giving it a 9 out of 10.
By the way, I'm not here.
Okay.
I'm just going to be silent.
You're never silent.
I'm just going to take a nap now with my loot llama that I will hit you with right now.
Okay, so it takes
I wonder what that was.
a step
was
back
it the magical script?
from the adventure elements of its predecessor.
I think it was!
And instead, a more straightforward and linear action/platformer.
Legend of Castlevania!
You gotta figure out why that's happening. Okay.
Because it's a legend, but it's out Castlevania.
That being said, there are several new ideas included in this
You're
one.
gonna hit me.
One, you have branching maps. So, many a times you're given directions. And
Oh no,
two,
my worst thing. Directions.
multiple
I hate 'em.
playable characters. You have the chance of becoming friends with Grant, Alucard, and Sypha. So you can replay it. I highly recommend Sypha. So now let's talk about the graphics.
I would recommend Alucard.
Alright, so when we look at the graphics, we have to compare it to games of that
The
era.
graphics sucks.
You have to compare it to games of that era. Comparing it to games nowadays, you
would
can't
suck.
you can't do it because it's in a completely different class. However, personally, I like the graphics.
Oh, you mean Castlevania failed?
No, I like the graphics of 8-bit and 16-bit more than the graphics nowadays. I would take
But the graphics nowadays look realistic.
I don't care. I would rather have an NES or an SNES game than any game nowadays.
That means you don't want Breath of the Wild.
My favorite Zelda game is still A Link to the Past. I like Breath of the Wild, but it's Link to the Past.
Oh, Brent of Oz was right. They'll ask you for a Link to the Past. You asked for it.
Well, and even when Castlevania goes, all of the other ones are fine, but I would rather have Super Castlevania 4. That's still my number one Castlevania game. Although I have not
My
played...
number one is not.
Well, I have not played Dracula X Rondo of Blood on the PC Engine yet, and I've been told that one's really, really good. So, anyway.
I don't play them at all.
Castlevania 3 had some of the best graphics of any NES game. The variety of enemies was high. The boss battles looked great.
We forgot to do those boss battles and all that. He was so caught up in these ones.
What boss battles?
How hard can it be?
Well, we can easily do another How Hard Can It Be?
Oh, yeah, oh, right, I already did that
yeah.
for the Ender Dragon.
The game actually does not suffer too much slowdown. There is a few areas of slowdown, but it's not really that bad. So, I actually give the graphics a rather high rating.
I
would give it like a 9.
I give it like a 5.
Okay, well, let me finish. Because the variety of backgrounds, the variety of enemies, they don't reuse the same enemy over and over and over again.
Yeah, they do.
No, they don't.
Whenever you have to face the exact same one.
Like where?
Like if you have to face, you know, one of those zombies?
You only face them in 1 or 2 areas, and then you don't see them again. The only enemy that is consistent throughout the whole thing, and it's because it's a baseline of Castlevania, is the skeletons and the bats.
Well, I hate skeletons and I hate bats now.
So,
by the way, we found a giant gummy controller and blue raspberry, and I'm already eating most of it.
So, comparing the graphics to that era, what would you give the graphics?
A 5.
Okay, why?
Because 5.
No, you got to explain why. Why are you giving it a 5?
Because I have no reasons, and I don't want to give it a full percent. Okay, fine. He looks like a douche.
The graphics on Trevor's pretty good.
No.
Yeah.
To me, they are.
In that era, compare it to Mario.
I hate Mario.
Compare it to Legend of Zelda. Compare it to Castlevania 2.
If I ever had to rate Mario, I would give it a 0.
Compare it to Bubble Bobble.
Now that was a good game.
It was a good game. But compared to those games, it's got really, really good graphics. So, that's why we're doing this from a retro and from a new gamer. So I give it a 9, you give it a 5. So, let's take a look at sound. Okay, so yet again, Castlevania 3 has an excellent soundtrack.
Legend of Castlevania.
Stop making the magical thunder happen. So Konami's well known for having great music.
Legend of Castlevania. Creepy stuff.
Is she weird?
That's creepy.
Should she be punished?
Oh no.
You should name him Mr. Flibble.
No.
Hello, Mr. Flibble.
No. I run off camera.
I know. Mr. Pokilo. Hi, Mr. Pokilo.
Never, that's my arch nemesis. I need to go. I'm taking the camera with me.
Anyway, let's finish this. Come on. So, the sound on the Famicom was better because the Famicom had a better sound chip. It had several more...
I got drumsticks.
It had several more channels than the NES. But still, I would give this sound... I would agree with IGN. I'd give the sound a 9. So... what would you give the sound?
Good.
0 to 10. 10 being the best.
I give it a G-O-O. D.
So I'm guessing a 10?
No. G, which is, it takes up how many letters? How many numbers?
Just say 0 to 10.
No, because I don't know.
So you're a blank.
No, I'm not a blank. You're a blank.
You're
I
not,
gave it a
you're
9.
not, huh?
I gave it a 9. You
Okay.
gave it a 0.
So,
You're a blank.
I gave it a 9, she gave it a 9. Let's take a look at gameplay. Okay, so gameplay, this title still suffers from the two major things.
I'm sure you all know this tune. If you don't, it's a tune from Undertale. At least I'm trying to copy that. I suck at this.
Yes, you do. Okay, so this title suffers
Ooh.
from two major things. Cappy! My Cappy!
He sucks.
Okay, this story,
I try to
this series.
drumsticks away.
So, Trevor can't swim. That's one of the number one
Oh.
biggest problems.
Neither
And
can Mario.
when Trevor gets hit, he flings backwards or close to any pit.
Hey, at least he can jump.
The pit could be in front
Link
of you.
can't.
Well, the pit can be in front of you. It can be behind you. Wherever the pit is, you're going to fall towards it. So, but
Okay.
even though that makes the game extremely difficult, it's still enjoyable.
In most of the games of Zelda, Link cannot even jump.
So there's nothing wrong with a game that's extremely challenging. So the branching paths, the different
I still suck at this.
playable characters, you have extreme replay value. So
I can't crack it.
gameplay, I would give it a 10.
Was that a crack?
It wasn't a crack, but it was because a crack is going to sound louder than that. But I would be careful doing that inside where we have a ceiling fan right above you. If it gets tangled in the ceiling fan, you should watch Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom, and you will know what happens when a whip gets tangled in a ceiling fan. Okay.
Wait, what gets tangled on a ceiling fan?
Yes.
I have to see that.
So
Ooh, next thing you know, the ceiling fan's on the ground.
that's not what happens.
The whip snaps.
No.
The whip flies round and round.
Do you need to see it?
Yes.
Okay. Here.
Shorty, turn off the switch.
So now do you see what can happen when a whip hits a ceiling fan?
Yes, you can get strangled to death.
Yes.
If you don't burn the whip first and then burn yourself.
Yes. So, gameplay. Back to Castlevania. Gameplay. What would you give the gameplay?
Good, even though I don't play it.
So you would give it a 9 also.
Oh yeah, I still need to burn that copy.
My Cappy. My Cappy. I got this at Classic Game. Well, not at Classic Game Fest. We went to a GameStop and got it.
Yeah, I got a Nightmare Foxy that was broken. Every Nightmare Foxy I have, there's always a cracked part that at some point breaks.
But that could be because of how you play with it.
No, it's not because of that. Like every single time I see it, there's a crack in there.
Maybe it's meant to happen.
No, Nightmare Freddy doesn't have a crack. Neither does Nightmare Bonnie. I'm only missing Nightmare Chica PS. So I can complete Nightmare Puppet. I'm very triggered about that.
You're very triggered about that?
Yes!
What does that mean?
Triggered means you go like this.
Ceiling fan! Oh no!
Which one turns that off?
She's no more. So, here comes story. Okay, so the story Again, excellent. Actually, almost all the Castlevania games have a great story. So this is the very first time the Belmont clan had ever faced Dracula. Something is crawling. A horned frog, a pink horned frog with glitter. And then another horned frog I can't see.
I can't reach it.
Oh, this horned frog. That fell and is dead. Okay. So.
This is very offensive to me, you know. You're not talking about me!
They bring in the story of Dracula's son Alucard, which comes from an old Dracula movie called Son of Dracula. The way they bring in Sypha very well, and how Sypha becomes a part of the Belmont clan. And they brought that in the animated series too. When season 3 hits of Castlevania on Netflix, I'm sure they'll talk about that. The only person that it just seems like they kind of threw in that they don't really talk too much about is Grant. Grant, very, very short, and he's never really talked about in any of the other Castlevania games. He shows up one more time as a boss in, I want to say it's Dissonance. I'm not 100% sure because I haven't played that one yet. But who knows if Konami goes and puts one in between Castlevania 3 and the next game, which we'll talk about soon. They might bring Grant back. I don't know. I like Grant, but still, Sypha's my favorite person to do that. Game fits in very well in the timeline. And it's still considered one of the best timelines of the NES era. So, Texas Cat. Texas Cat / Indoraptor. What's your view on the story?
Good and confusing!
Not as confusing as Zelda, though. Ow.
You don't need that reference.
Okay. So, what would you give it? I gave it a 9.
I gave it confusing. 5.
Okay.
An 8 would have probably made 9 and 8.5.
So overall, the game, in my opinion, holds up extremely well. I would actually agree with IGN and give it a 9.0.
I would actually put Darth Vader in a dress.
You already did that.
A real dress.
You did it in part 1.
No, I didn't. That was a blanket.
But why'd you call it a dress?
I had nothing else to call it. Oh, yeah.
So it definitely...
Here they are, kissing.
It definitely would be in my
Two
top...
girls kissing.
In my top 5 of NES games. I would probably
one
agree
more
it
to
would,
make
it
a
would be
pyramid.
the best NES game ever made. So, I give it a 9.0. Texas Cat overall score. What would you give it?
28.
That's not between 0 and 10.
2.5 then.
That doesn't make sense because you've been giving it 9s and 8.5s and 9s.
5.5 then.
That still doesn't make sense. Per your previous
1.5.
Per your previous numbers, it has to be 8 or higher.
7.5.
You
That's all you're
really
getting out of
aren't
me.
the best at math, are you?
You're not getting anything higher than 7.5.
So I would assume if I average what she's given, it would be an 8.5.
Sunny D. Yay!
Careful.
I yeeted it.
So I hope you enjoyed this look at Castlevania 3 Dracula's Curse, Part 2.
Hope you liked the mess I made.
Part 2 of the Legend of Castlevania.
I have crippling depression.
What is it called? So
Legend of Castlevania, up the water spout, down came the rain and
So hope you liked the video. Hope you subscribe.
I want to play a tune real quick. 1, 2, 3, 4. Freddy's knocking on your door. 5, 6, 7, 8. Freddy's gonna chop off your head. I made a bendy version of that. Would you like to hear it? I'll play it.
Don't forget to leave a comment. It does motivate us in order to try to get these things through. Still learning
If you
this
still
new
want to
program.
see that hide and seek one, well then leave a like to it and comment down below. Hide and seek at Robot Park.
So still trying
hide and
to.
seek.
We've got a new editing program that I've been playing around with.
Yeah.
So
Amber, Luna, Yin Yang, and
the
Pixel
next,
are going to be there with
the next video is you are going to review City of Ember.
Yeah.
So we're going to steer
Anyways,
away.
I'm playing the bendy one. 1, 2, 3, 4. Freddy's knocking on your door. Bendy's knocking on your door. 5, 6, 7, 8. Bendy's gonna stab ink right through you.
So we're going to take a break from Legend of Castlevania.
Yeah, so please do not suggest it right now.
And you're going to do a movie review of City of Ember. Then,
Which is my favorite.
while you're doing that, I will actually be working on beating the next game in the series.
Whatever this is.
So, put it back. So, we're going to move back. So, currently we were on Legend of Castlevania Part 3, Dracula's Curse, on the NES. So now we move away from
Yes, just to let
the
you know,
NES.
I have an infection. So please support me during maybe surgery.
You're not getting any surgery.
I'm having surgery.
So we're going to move to either
So see ya.
PS2,
While I go walk away with a cane, because I'll be coming out an old lady.
decided to bring out the PS2 Slim, or the Xbox, which I must thank someone for. I actually did not own an Xbox or any of the games, and thanks to that person, I have lots.
What happened?
You sure do run good with a cane.
Ah! I'm not having surgery on my legs.
So, we'll either move to the
My
PS2
Bluetooth earbuds.
or the Xbox and play Castlevania
My llama.
Curse of Darkness.
Where'd my other horn frog go?
I don't know.
I'm going.
So
See ya,
this
I'm not
game
using my
takes place right after Castlevania 3, and this deals with two Forge Masters, Hector and Isaac, where, without giving too much away, Isaac makes sure that Hector comes back to the castle. Anyway, that is next time.
See you later.
Again, hope you liked it. Give us a comment. You're going to see Texas Cat do a review of one of her
On
favorite
my own.
movies next video. But in the meantime, leave a comment. We're still trying to get used to this. Hopefully it's getting better. Comment, let us know what improvements you've liked that we've done. If you've got any comments on some of the programs. Right now I'm using a editing program called OpenShot, which pretty good for beginners. Still learning it. And then of course the voiceovers need some work. It's either due to the microphone or due to the program that I'm using, which is Odyssey, I believe it is, or Audacity or something like that. And then I plug it in OpenShot. But again, hope you liked it. Let us know, and we will see you next time for Legend of Castlevania Part 3 and also City of Ember movie review.